So, on a recent episode of Meet the Press, Bernie Sanders detailed how he feels about gun manufacturers being allowed to be sued by the victims of, as he likes to put it, or you liberals like to say, gun violence. Okay, let's examine that for a moment. Because, on the one hand, he doesn't want to see gun shop owners sued or in any trouble for, you know, injuries sustained from the use of firearms, which I wholeheartedly support. So, before you take this as a bashing Bernie video, I want you to understand where I stand on this. I'm going to liken him saying that Glock or Smith & Wesson being able to be sued because somebody died from the illegal and improper use of one of their products stands in my mind. Let's liken that to somebody drinks too many Budweisers, gets behind the wheel of their car, clearly illegal in every state, but still nobody sues Budweiser. Nobody sues Ford if they're driving an Expedition and plow over 36 people. They sue the person who did it. Maybe they sue their insurance company. So don't tell me that you should be allowed to sue the manufacturer of a product because you chose or someone chose to misuse it. I don't see people suing cigarette companies anymore because they put their warning on the product. Same thing with alcohol manufacturers, beer, wine, liquor. Guess what? Guns have warning labels on them. Essentially the packages do have instruction manuals and they all have warning labels. They all have precautionary measures that should be taken. You know what this other interesting thing? There is an illegal way to use a firearm. Criminals are not legally allowed to own them, but yet they do. And for some strange reason, you guys seem to think that passing laws to limit the ability of law-abiding citizens to owning a firearm for defense is going to somehow stop the criminals who already illegally trade them from obtaining more. I've really tried to understand this mentality. I really have, with an open mind. But please explain to me, when a drunk driver kills somebody, do we make it more difficult for sober people to drive? Or do we just try to attack the real problem? It's so easy to look for cop-out excuses and not attack the real social issue. The real issue is mental instability. You know, the kind that most of you liberals have and are so good at. Let's face it, you are not exactly the most mentally stable people. You are all for tolerance as long as it's your perception of tolerance. You're all for equality as long as it's your perception of equality. You're not open-minded. You're very anti-change. You want the status quo. For the most part, you're racist, bigoted, closed-minded, uneducated sheep. In closing, because I've kind of gone off on a tangent here, no, you cannot sue Glock or Smith & Wesson or Colt if a criminal misuses one of their products. Sorry, it just doesn't work that way. Because, Mr. Sanders, are you planning on giving a medal to the makers of a Glock used to save life? Because that happens a lot more often than you think. No, I don't think you are. You know, when we talk about these issues, let me ask you this. If it was your child, would money make the pain of losing a child go away? If you could defend your child and save their life with a firearm, would you do it? Because in a lot of cases, that's the only option you have. I personally would take whatever means necessary to protect my son and my family and my loved ones. because I'm not a coward. Doesn't mean I go out looking for ways to shoot people, because I don't. And guess what? My guns have never shot anyone either. If I ever had to use it, you better damn sure believe a human life was in jeopardy, and it was me or them. And my son depends on me. That said, no, suing the manufacturers of guns doesn't really solve the problem now, does it? Just makes them more expensive for the law-abiding civilian. Doesn't work. Like everything else this raving lunatic says, it just doesn't work. I'm out.